achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne.
We're back. We're back on our shows. Even my YouTube's playing up. What the hell? What's that about? Damn. Anyway, LinkedIn's back to normal. I'll have you know, my friends. LinkedIn was glitchy over the weekend. I couldn't join any shows live on my computer. I'm not sure whether I still can, but at least the one thing I noticed is that we lost the comments tab on our events page. And so, that was a hassle. But now that's come back this evening. So let's hope LinkedIn's coming back to normal within reason. But we're here. Now, if you don't know who we are, so I'm Eni. That's Christina there. I let Christina introduce herself. She's the star of this show, by the way.
Well, thank you. Too kind, Annie, as usual. Well, I'm Cristina Sagato. I'm a business coach and a personal branding mentor. And today we'll be talking about something that is step one to build your personal brand and to start your business, overcoming fear. So I'm very excited for this conversation. I'm very excited to go back and forth with Annie and everybody that wants to join the stage, because this is a hot topic when it comes to building your personal brand and starting your business off the ground. Back to you, Annie.
For sure. Look, so we have a good few people here today. Mr. Khan was the first one in. Joni came next, and Tabiloba's just joined. So we're going to have a conversation. I said, of course, overcoming fear is one of the biggest hurdles, right, in becoming your own boss. What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I get no customers? What if I don't know what I'm doing? You won't. What if I don't make enough money? You won't either for a long time. But you could, of course you could, right? I think the whole fear thing, we have to, it's a frame of mind. But it's not just fear. So there's a self-doubt. And there's always that temptation. Let me just stay where I am. Let me just carry on this job. Even though I'm unhappy and it's not what I want to do, and I have bigger dreams. If I just carry on getting paid, then I'll be fine. You won't. It's all of that we want to discuss today. So fear is just one part. So this is part of our long series about how do you escape the 9 to 5 to become your own boss. The brave do. Well, maybe the stupid do, right? Most of us here do. We've made the leap.
Only fools fall in love.
That's not true either. That's not. Oh my goodness. That's a whole different conversation, right?
Yeah.
My son's 16, and today I'm minding my own business, looking at the window, and I see a girl across the road from my house. I'm like, damn, that's odd. If my son comes in within the next 10 seconds, it means he was talking and walking with her, right? So, and lo and behold, he comes in within 5 seconds. I'm like, you were talking to that girl? It's like, yeah, I talk to girls. I'm like, no, you don't. She almost came in my house, Christina. Like, almost. I'm saying, you lost the girl. And he's like, no, leave me alone. I never. I'm like, oh, anyway, only fools fall in love, Christina. Anyway, another whole story, right? Well, that's the story of endless life.
Yeah.
But look, I think this thing about starting your own business, it's not foolish, right? It is a way to freedom. I think it is. I hated working for anyone. Every time you join this room, you find this out. So that I will repeat it. I have no problem repeating it over and over. I hated being a staff. And I've been quite lucky. All my jobs, I've always been a manager. Apart from when I was a kid, right? Since I left uni, I've always been a manager, managing people and having some freedom that comes with being a manager. But of course, that comes with responsibilities. But it's the office politics. I just couldn't deal with the office politics. It was I hate negative, toxic environments.
I hated that too.
I don't really like people in my space. I don't think, Christina, because people just, some of them are just weird, right? If they were all nice, then I could live with them. But you never know what mood they're gonna come in. You never know who's got the knife out for you today. You know, your best friend suddenly becomes, God help us, right? And so I couldn't.
Annie, right? You hate non-productivity.
No. I hate.
That's what I hated being a manager. I hated like the lack of productivity. Like
Yeah,
just
okay.
it made me frustrated. But it,
I can take that. I think it's a little things that used to annoy me, right? Little things, microaggressions. You know, people who are, they've got ulterior motives. You know, is it personalities of people in the workplace that I just could not. You know, and so I wasn't, was I desperate to leave? I think circumstances made me leave in the end, right? I don't, you know, of course, I thought about leaving, but I didn't know what I was going to do. By the time I came around to, I want to go and start my own marketing agency, I'd created, I'd made sure I was going to leave. And I literally had 2 years to think about it, right? And you know, my choice wasn't, do I carry on working and earning my money? My choice was, what do I do now? 2 years after a job. So I went to, and I had to overcome the. Was there a fear of marketing? Yes, because marketing evolves, right? I said, look, I was online in 2000. That's where I started my career. And I said, I came back to it in 2015. So, you know, so there was a big gap, and I knew the world had changed. But you know, there's many ways I go over my fear. Anyway, enough of me talking. Christina, now, tell us your story, how you experience this fear, uncertainty, and so on.
Sure. Well, first of all, more than fear is realizing who you're surrounded by. So when you are at a 9 to 5 in a work environment, let's face it, not very many people around you are happy. They're there because they have to. So it's very difficult for you if you're already struggling, with insecurities, whether you can achieve something or not, to find people in that environment that are gonna support you outgrowing that very environment. So that's the main thing. So you find yourself in an environment where a lot of people are gonna, if you even try to share what you're trying to build, you're gonna immediately be confronted with toxicity and negativity and little things that chip away at your confidence. So knowing that you are in that environment, you have to be really careful. You're gonna share what you're gonna do anyway, and you own it, and you're prepared to combat against the toxicity that is going to come towards you, or you're going to find yourself a new environment, a new set of people you spend time with, people you actually want to spend time with, so that you can flourish and you feel good about sharing what it is that you're building. So for me, it was bringing what I was about to build to an online community, especially here on LinkedIn. And I didn't start that I went live or I went somewhere and I said, that's what I'm building, etc., etc. It started by listening, noticing who was around me and noticing who were those people that I wanted to eventually either collaborate with or listen to more of their events, getting curious about people. Just like, at one point I got curious about Annie. I saw him coming to some audio rooms. I saw who it was. My friend Angelica kept calling him my twin. I was like, they don't really look alike. What's up with that? And so I figured it out why Annie was called Angelica's twin. So that was funny. But anyhow, you have to really find an environment that is fertile for your own growth, because it's gonna keep coming at you. So that my personal story is that I had attempted for 7 years I was running my own business, but it was a completely different business. So I knew of myself that I could focus on building something and I could be productive, and that no matter what, I was able to pivot and make something profitable. That much I knew of myself. I also knew of myself that no matter what, I could go back to doing what I was doing in my previous business, because I already mastered how to do it, and I could also I could consistently bring in revenue if that's what I chose to do as a second plan or backup plan. If I noticed, uh, a dive on the revenue that was coming in, or for some reason it wasn't a good month. So I knew that I had all that. What I didn't know, if if I was good enough, at what I was about to build. My only proof of it was that for decades I've been training people. For decades I was teaching people what I knew, and they I was watching them starting their own businesses with what I was teaching them. So that was funny, and funny how that works. You inspire somebody, you teach somebody something, and you realize that you're the one lacking the courage, and you see others, just going for it. So uh, what we really have to work on in order to take the leap, at least what I had to work on, is keeping on building validation for myself. Not external validation, but validation that what I was working on was producing results for myself and for others. And it's a lot of internal work, a lot of you know uh, self-love, and in continuous learning. So one thing that I did to keep going and keep at it is to try to find uh, mentors. And also, when I say mentor, doesn't have to be necessarily coaches all around you, but mentors where you can find them. So I would find mentors in books and guides. I would have a book pretty much for every problem that I had, and a book for every type of inspiration that I needed to find. One of my She doesn't know she's my mentor, but because I never met her. But one of my mentor was the author of this book. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's called 2 Weeks Notice, and it is by Amy Potterfield. And if you want to start a business, that's probably what you should read. Uh, I bought it because I didn't know about this person, but it had this bold title that completely caught my attention, called 2 weeks notice, because I have been wanting to give 2 weeks notice for 2 years now. And reading this book really encouraged me, because one of the things that he explains is that it's not that you buy this book, you read it, and you're going to give your 2 weeks notice. What this book explains is that you have to set the date. You have to set an escape date, and take all the actions and all the daily steps that are going to bring you closer. And one of the things that I also got from this book is that I needed to pick up the phone and talk to people. I needed to open the LinkedIn chat and message people and start conversations, because what I needed was constant support, and I needed to constantly learning and being aware of what's going on around me, if I wanted to be in business now and for a long time to come. You want to add anything, Annie?
Telling
Anybody there?
Michael about
Oh,
my clickings. I click loads. Now let's welcome Mike, of course. Look, I like what you shared. I think a lot of this and a lot of business, I always say, is 98% mindset, 2% what you know. But of course, so you have to work on a mindset. The fear is in a mindset, right? Our self doubt, our uncertainty is in our mindset. And we have to tackle that first. But no one tells us that on day one of being an entrepreneur, Christina. No one tells us. Even I've had business coaches. they will tell you how to think with that same mindset. That used to really drove me crazy. I didn't know what they were talking about really. I remember my coach saying to me one day, "You can't fill an empty bucket. You can't fill a bucket with holes any." I'm like, "Huh? What?" But his point was, you can't expect to have a business that's making money if you're losing customers every day. And I just never got it in the way it's meant to. The way I just said it, I just know. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he used to bang the tables. I stopped banging tables because he used to get really frustrated with me and just not hearing what we were saying. I think one of the greatest things we have today, my friends, is mindset. Literally, the last 5 years, mindset has become everything, and we know how important it is. That's why we start to really prepare for business. Mike, I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Christina is that person for sure. Ignore me. Christina is the one that I want to talk about, right? In this corner, we have Christina, the builder of dreams and undisputed champion of online business and brand coaching. The strategy is sharp as a jab, and an encouragement that lands like a winning right hook. She's helping people step into the ring with confidence. Christina doesn't just train champions, she inspires them to believe in their own fight and build something lasting round after round. See, Christina, isn't that a blessing? That's you, right?
I know. Thank you. I'm blushing. So
Excellent. You achieved your goal, Mike. Thank you for your kind words. Of course, we'll see you, Linda, as well. Thank you for joining us. There's many more people here. My friends, if you're here, drop us a comment. I can't welcome if you don't say anything. If you don't say something. Hi, where you join us from, your ideas on how we overcome fears, or your experience of feeling fear when you made the leap into your business. Or any questions you may have. So do say something, my friends. It helps. We'd love to hear from you. Let's go to Mr. Calm. Mr. Calm, talk to us about dealing with these fears and your experiences that we can learn from.
Well, I don't have a business. Um, um, it's yeah, it's just where I'm at right now. Um, fact is, but the concept matches when it comes to confidence or being able to actually pick yourself up from whatever it is that you're trying to attempt to do in life. The thing is, you have to collaborate with a lot of people. You have to, and in order to have in order for whatever it is you do to be successful, you can't just do it in a bubble by yourself, because if you did, nobody would know, you know. And when nobody knows, success doesn't come. It just doesn't. So you need to surround yourself with people, just like Christina had indicated. And I hope I'm saying that right, Christina. I've been having difficulty. And um, I believe what she totally lined up in her initial statements was absolutely and utterly correct. And the emphasis, as far as I can tell, is being able to actually get up, do what you need to do, be confident in it. If you fail, just understand that it is just a learning, a learning point. It's something that, or something you just gotta learn and overcome. Failure does not mean it's just a disaster. No, it's not. It's not a disaster. It's something that you gotta learn and experience so that you can elevate yourself beyond it. You just and when I say elevate yourself, what I mean is, like, it's like you climbing up a mountain, and um, you miss a step, and you fall down. Well, you get up and you go up again, and you go for as far as you possibly can with confidence, with confidence. And as you go, you gain more and more confidence. But what took you up there was confidence in yourself, confidence in what you could do, confidence is what and a drive to accomplish what you need to accomplish. But that's what confidence feeds your drive. So pick up your confidence. It's yours. and yours alone. And you're the only one who can actually pick it up and carry it and take it to wherever it needs to go. Nobody else can do that for you, just you yourself. I used to have a fear of getting on stage and speaking, stage fright. I used to, and what I did was I practiced loads and I imagined people out there. I even imagined their questions that they'll be throwing back at me. I'd go into the library, find a little cubby hole, and practice. Practice not in my head, but practice out loud, like as if I'm having a conversation with another person. Just practice and practice and practice. Eventually, I got better and better and better and better, to the extent that it became comfortable. Now, when you get on stage, you're comfortable with what you're doing. You don't have that fright goes away, that stage fright. It just goes away. As you continue talking, it just goes away. Your words just flow. Your mind just clicks and it flows. That's what, to the extent that you become a freelancer. In other words, you don't need a script. You don't need to memorize anything. You go with your guts. You go with your heart. You go with what you actually feel. And then you reproduce that on stage. You don't need a script at all. You just be great. Why? Because that the confidence you imbue, what that translates to is actually propagates out into the audience, and the audience feels it, hears it, and they're embodied by it, and that makes them feel good. That makes them feel like as if, oh my gosh, I just heard something marvelous. Even if it was just a few sentences, the reminders are always great. Reiterations are always great, but you said it in your own way, your own style, and that just boosted them in some way, shape, form, or another. The applause, you'll get plenty of it, I'm pretty sure, as you continue your journey along with confidence. Keep that confidence, and as long as you keep it with you throughout your life, you'll be fine. You'll be totally and utterly fine. That's all I gotta say, Annie. Sorry about that. I rambled a little bit more, or should I say I waffled?
No, there's genius there, my friend. There's genius there. I think you talk about confidence. I think matters, right? It matters. Look, I dare say that your confidence, must mix with something. Christina talks about your why. I think you wrote your why, but no, but the thing that Christina said, I think, is worth mentioning, which you mentioned too, is the fact that people must know you exist. Now, Christina mentioned that her book talked about making those phone calls. Marketing is called, my friends. If you don't have a marketing angle, I think you're almost double, you're in double panic, because what you just said, Michael, that people know, unless people know about me, how are they going to buy from me? You're stuck, right? Yeah. So I think knowing that you have a marketing process, a marketing bent, a marketing ability, maybe interest, hobby, something like that. But you need marketing, is my point. Otherwise, I think confidence will soon evaporate. That's just my thought. Christina, what say you? Sorry, I muted you. Sorry, you were clashing
Yes,
with.
I'm unmuted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think going back to comfort zones, right? You really have to ask yourself what's at stake and what is the risk in staying in this false comfort that not that you created for yourself, but that life has little by little built around you, perhaps because of circumstance. I shared that this is not my first attempt at running a business, and it's like when you're younger, you believe you're fearless, right? You take a leap so much easier. You just go for it, and let's see what happens. As you're getting a little bit older, now you you look around and you try to see what is it that I built, for myself. What do I have to show for it? And if you had the 2 or 3 or 4 jobs, when you ask yourself the question, you go immediately career. The career that I built for myself is what I have to show for it. The money that I'm earning is what I have to show for it. And if your career for a while has gone pretty well, it really becomes your prison. I never thought I would build a career over a period of 12 years consistently. uh, it actually became a prison. It has been 12 plus years since I ran the previous business that I was talking about. For 12 years, I was trapped in this false security where if you asked anybody, I was thriving, right? Promotion after promotion, Christina this, Christina that. Uh, but, and then the last couple of years, I realized that I think I said this before. In order for me to feel good about this 9 to 5 or 8 hours, 10 hours a day, sometimes I was dedicated to myself, to building somebody else's dream. I had to put a little bit of my signature on it. So I was, creating initiatives and programs and things to coach people and little classes and courses on how people could start their businesses and how to brand yourself. So I was doing all this that I want to do for myself and I want to do in public, be, within the walls of the company I was working for. And, I was fortunate at that time that people I worked for went for it because they liked it, and it actually became my trampoline, if you want to say so, because what these things that I was building, we were actually building for the community, an external community that didn't have anything to do with the actual organization, and I was able to get some validation. I was able to meet people that had a dream, had an idea, and they wanted to figure it out, a roadmap to turn that into something tangible. And I found I was fortunate enough that I was building that with them. I was building their business with them, and that little by little it gave me confidence. But even then, once the class was over, once the seminar was over, and I was going back to my regular activities, I always said those naysayers around me, "Oh, you're back to work now." Like if the thing that I'd organized for the company, although it was something in addition to my other duties, like if that wasn't work, right? Oh, you had your fun, and now let's go back to reality. So I had people around me. They were saying things that were really not very nice, and I learned one thing in that moment. I learned to listen for a second and observe those people that were trying to knock things down. I was like, man, this person really is spending a lot of energy in it criticizing that I have managed to convince somebody to let me run a class for the community within the company. And it's making little comments about, well, let's get back to work. Like if I wasn't working during those hours. So I thought, if this person is so, focused on doing this, there must be something there that, perhaps they wanted, or something there that, you know, they believed that perhaps was my very own trampoline. I was going to leave the position that I had. So I started, looking into that, and I began asking questions and starting to notice what people got annoyed. They were annoyed with exactly what was that it was really annoying them. I was just curious, and also I started noticing uh, what people were coming to me for. And out of that, little by little, I began crafting the roadmap for what I do now, and I did that in public. So I cannot stress enough that if you're listening to this and you want to start a business, you have an idea. Step one is use your social media of choice. the YouTube or LinkedIn or wherever you are comfortable, and make a statement. Today is day one of me building in public. So this is your door to my to your behind the scene door. So I think this is very important because one, you're making a statement to yourself and to whoever it is that is listening, because you just don't know who's listening. And then now you said it out loud. So tomorrow you're gonna produce more content or take the next step to make it a reality. So anyone to see?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think the one thing that you and Michael are saying is practice. Now, I saw your comment, Alvin. Welcome. I see you. I think practice. I suppose I'm looking at it from don't jump into a new business that you know nothing about at all. Like you're saying, Christina, you were doing coaching even as part of your old job and as part of the job you were doing. So
It was a sign.
right, I think for all of us it's a sign, right? I remember talking to Festus today. I'm saying, what has God told you you have to do? But I think we know what we could be doing. We know what we want to do, whether you're religious or not. I think the spiritual element to listening to your soul, because your soul will tell you where your happiness really lies, right? And so, like I say, I didn't go into marketing because I was bored. And I did marketing as my first job when I was 19, when I was 20, after I left uni, right? So my company was essentially going back to those days, albeit with a 15-year gap. Practice, do something. Don't say, make sure you know what you're jumping into, because otherwise you might get a shock, right? I think I also like your point that negative people are everywhere. Don't expect the world to stand there applauding you. Red carpet, into your new career. They won't. Your friends are going to say to you, "You're crazy. What are you?" You don't say your friends, your wife, your husband, your kids, your family will look at you and say, "Are you sure? Giving up all those security." And look how far you've come. Yes, you mentioned Christina. Look how far you've come in your job. Give that all up to go on your own? Yes, yes, you do. I had to, right? I'm saying that, I think we have to make that leap one day and just decide, like you said, Christine, decide today is the day. This date is a date. My date was January 15th. That's a date I'm gonna go solo and I will learn from there. There's a saying: if you haven't got a parachute, jump out of the plane and make one on their way down, right? Something that's what being in business feels like, right? You must take the risk. You must let yourself go on, Christine. I can see you thinking.
Oh, yeah, but you don't have to take huge risks, right? So if you want to start a business, it doesn't mean quit your job today. It means start that business, even if
Mm,
you're starting it part time. I think that's very important because you get to test your ideas, and you actually it helps you. You begin finding and building the community that is going to give validation uh, and to the product that it is that you're distributing, whether it is a service or an actual product. So you have to test. You have to find the strength to keep pushing, even if you're tired. Because if your biggest fear is lack of revenue, not to be able to bring the same salary home and all the benefits that come with it, if that's your biggest fear, and that's usually when we suffer of when we are afraid of something in this particular topic, that's a fear number one. Will I be able to pay my bills, to pay my rent, etc., right? So if that's a fear, what do you have to lose if you stay at your 9 to 5, and on the weekends you build your other job? What the difference maker is that you have to respect the decision that you're going to start your business part time, and you have to give to it. You have to give it. You You have to be dedicated to it. It's not just something that you do, okay, I'll do it this week and then I will do it next month. You have to create some consistency even within the limitation to be
Yeah,
able to,
I think that's a good word, consistency, right?
even within
Discipline.
the limitation.
I think that whatever it is, you have to know. Is that thing about making sure that we are giving our true selves to our business, whatever that means, right? Because we know we're going to know what needs doing. Yes, you're going to be exhausted if you do it Christina's way, what you just said. If you do it half and half, you're going to exhaustion comes to us. Whereas you have to still stick at it. You have to be committed to it. I find it hard to be committed to two things at once. That's not true. If you're committed, then you're committed, right? And you have to do what it takes to make them both work. I do too. I've run two businesses at the same time for years. I don't think Elon never noticed, but I'm sure you did, but maybe you didn't. But you have to be truly committed, and you have to, I think we have to be honest with ourselves, Christina, and take those actions that we must take. The worst thing I think in business that we can do is, like I said, when God tells you what to do. When you get an inspiration, I should do this. I should make this call. I should start this project. I should start this service. I should do X, Y, Z. Right? We must actually do what we hear in our head. Maybe we fail, but if we succeed, our life changes. Right? Let me stop talking. Is it Joni next or is it Tobiloba? I don't know. I'm not sure. Tobiloba, be kind. Let's do ladies first, and then we'll come to you, my friend. Joni, share with us. You have a business.
Hi, I do. I run my own business. So I had a bunch of things to say because gosh, you are so sweet, Christina. I mean, anyone should want you as their coach. And I was kind of thinking, like, a lot of people who listen to these podcasts are trying to be coaches, which is their own business. And so I'm not, but I think that's really wonderful. And so that's just my thing. I'm saying thank you to try. And I think there is some part of you always, if you fail, you want to succeed, so you don't quit it. And it's okay to quit if it doesn't work out. I have quit quite a few things so that I could just land in like some perfect hub. But I didn't for a few years, and I really respect like coaches and mentors to just prop you up and make you feel better. And just a little story. I saw when you go to your parents' house, let's say, if you still have parents around or if you're lucky enough, do you really care about cleaning their house like so perfectly like your house, or their garden, weeding or whatever? No, because it's not yours. But when it's your house, you want that house looking pretty spiffy. I shouldn't say the word spiffy, sorry, but you could put in like this extra like amount of effort. That's the same as having your own business. You put in the extra effort. And I think that's so admirable if you try it out, and you don't have to be perfect at it at first. And I really implore anyone who is thinking about it to know the regulations of your business for any sort of tax purposes, just any sort of legal situation, like registering yourself, making sure your business is fully accountable. because that's a really important, because that can come back and bite you in the tush. So there's that. And there is the fact that you are taking care of your own garden, and Christina's great. And Annie, the only reason Annie is so successful, and this is, I get this too, because his compliments and his genuine kindness is real. It's not like fake. It's not fake. And so I don't give out fake kindness either. And but that's why Annie's so successful, because he actually enjoys people and enjoys trying to make this career work. And so be genuine with anyone who is trying to work with you. It makes a difference.
I agree 100%.
I'm off.
Thank you. So thank you for sharing your gems. Yeah, so I think the analogy, tending your own garden is always better than tending someone else's garden. Isn't that true? It's true, right? I think we can all agree with that. And I mean, as I said, I would want to keep my parents, my stepmother's house tidy. And I hope my kids want to do the same in my house, Joni, but they don't, right? They don't. Look.
They don't. I mean, like, the amount of attention to detail.
More.
They're not going to edge your lawn.
They're bad kids, man. They're bad kids. As the kids get better, as they get older, they get better. So, and our son brings food around these days. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. So I wish. Look, I hear what you're saying. I say, we do better when we work for ourselves. That's the long and short of it, right? Because everything is on us. We are the ones who reap the rewards, but we must put the effort in. We must. You can't expect results, right? I hear people every day. People talk about burnout. So I'm like, you haven't done any work yet. Burnout. When you work for yourself,
you're burned out from your old career. So, like, obviously you're trying something new, and so you're already a little bit, like, frayed around the edges, and you're just like, I want to do something for myself. And so it stinks if it doesn't work out. And so, but that's what I was saying. Like, you need to know when to quit if it's not working out, because it's going to ruin your bank account.
Yeah, well, maybe. So I'm thinking, Christine, I'm going to come to you. I wonder what you think. I'm thinking more. We need to evolve our business. Your first idea is not the one you're going to be with in 5 years' time. I can almost assure you, right? Don't let that be a problem. That's business for you. So I started a marketing agency. I've done many things in between. So for a time I wrote business plans. Other times I've done other things, right? Now, as a LinkedIn lead generation was my real fuel to build a business and make money in the end. And now it's events. Now it's books. I'm saying evolve. Don't ditch everything you've learned, you've been through to start a new business. Number 2, I think just evolve your business that you have into where you are, into who you are. That's my thinking. Christina, what's your thinking?
Okay. Yeah, well, I think I agree with you. It's a process. So it's like when you plant something, it starts with a seed, right? And there are people with a green thumb and people that say, I'll kill anything that is green if I just look at it. So what's the difference is that, you know that you have to do everything in balance. You have to water your garden, but not overwater, right? And really, and also,
sweet. That's sweet. Oh my goodness.
So you have to water your gardens, but not overwater them, and really understand that every project is unique. Everything as its time. And something that I wanted to respond to something about, make sure that everything is ready, taxes and things. Otherwise, it might bite you in the hand. yes, uh, but that comes, once you're setting up and you're ready. When you're testing, you don't have to, don't let yourself get overwhelmed by all this, because more often than not, this very conversation, uh, the taxes, the registering the business, may having the website, the logo, bookkeeping, all that, those are each one of them is an excuse not to start, because you find 3 million excuses to say that you're not ready, because you're not good with numbers, you're not good with bookkeeping, uh, you are not sure, you really hate bureaucracy, and having to go and register the business is just too much for you. So before I start, I need to have money so that I can invest and I can hire all these people to do all these. Result, you'd never start. And the other thing that I want to say is that exactly this. Why do people say that you're crazy because you're making the leap and you decide to quit your job and just go all in on your business? It's exactly because of that. Why would anybody want to give up a, a source of money that is fairly regular for double the work? Because that's what it's going to take. So if you're ready, or if you're thinking of not, take advantage of the stability that a 9 to 5 offer, and that you're going to put in longer hours, and that all your, those people that said that you're crazy because why would you give up such a good salary are right, but you want to do it anyway, that's a sign that you are the very special kind of person that it takes to be someone to start their own business. It's not everybody, right? Not everybody wants to escape or run away from their 9 to 5. It's almost a calling. Not everybody wants to do it. There are jobs out there right now today that somebody is doing that don't require a lot of skills, that don't require passion, that don't require going live on LinkedIn, sending messages, consistently looking at data and going on call with people and spending probably 10, 12 hours of your day planning and, feeding it. And you just go there, you do a few tasks, you don't even have to think about the tasks, and you're bringing maybe the same money or what you will be bringing when you first start. So that's why, people think, the people around you, they're going to think that you're certified crazy for giving up something so easy. Because a lot of these jobs we are trapped into, we call them comfort zone, because we do them on autopilot almost, especially after years of being at the same job. It is so natural to you. You just know you're going in, you're there, and whatever is come your way, those are tasks you have to do, and you do them, and then you go home. When you start your business, it is completely different. You have days where you're thinking, oh, how you are expanding or how you're planning your next product, and days where it is all about talking to people and getting feedback. And then there are the days that are actually your sales day, when you are doing tasks that are bringing money in. Not every day is going to be a day where you're doing a task that is bringing money in, unless you're now established and there is an established system and that's coming in consistently. And that's usually the case if you want to start and operate an e-commerce business. Then yes, the money flows in pretty consistently. But if the business that you want to start is a business that is in the service industry, the initial stage and the initial phase, especially if you start by yourself, is going to require you to wear quite a few different hats until you feel comfortable enough to now scale it, which is another story. Any do you want to see who's in the audience?
Yeah, for sure. Scaling is a whole different thing, but
Can
scaling is
I just say one quick thing? I absolutely do not agree with not having the legal in place.
yeah.
I know that is like a
No, no, no,
hindrance
no,
or
no, 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 no,
something.
no, 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 no. I
The
think
legal is so
you're right.
important.
You no,
It
Of
look,
is
course, you have to have
so
the legal, but not on day one.
no,
No, when you just
not
start.
maybe with the idea, but if you're going
here's
to
what I
actually start a
Exactly.
did.
business,
Here's,
register it. It's not hard. I promise
here's
it's
what I
not hard.
did, Joni, and I hear what you're saying. I think what Joni is saying is there is a business of running a business that we must learn. It's not, it's not about the legals. It's about knowing how to set up a business and run a business. That's a whole different. Now, most people will start a business based on their passion, their skill, their interest. I'm saying, but you
Right.
have to know how to run a business. You have to know, so I made a mistake that you're talking about, Joni. And say, of course, I've always had an accountant because from day one, I've always paid an accountant. Even when I can afford it, I still pay them, right? And same as having a coach, Christina. I couldn't afford them, but I had to have, I didn't know what I was doing, right? And the numbers, I couldn't afford to get screwed up on the numbers. But the accountant gave me a weird advice, which made sense at the time. I don't know whether you have VAT, value added tax in the US. I'm sure you do, right, Christina? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, so I'll tell you why I made that comment, right?
Go.
Actually, a lot of people come to me with exactly this dilemma.
Mm,
They want to start a business, and so I also live in the UK, so I had my business registered in the UK, so I do know how that works. And in the United States is very similar. You also have a sole entrepreneurship format where you can start, fairly easily. You file a form of all your earnings at the end of the year, and of course you want to save all your receipts and all that, because deduction, just like in the UK, very similar tax credits, etc. Uh, but what's happening here is that a lot of the people I work with have come to me after spending thousands of dollars, because before they even had clarity on what kind of business it was that they wanted to start, they they paid for a LLC, a limited liability company, which not every business needs. It really depends on many people are there, and if you want to operate under your own name or under a different business name. And so, what happened is that people were creating business names that were completely misaligned with what it is that they built in the end. They were paying this exorbitant amount of money, depending on the state in the United States, up to $800 a month to be registered. And they got the bookkeeping software that they could have replaced with the free software initial stage. They literally spent tens of thousands of dollars, but then including the website, and then they they were wondering how come nobody's coming.
So, but Christina,
We're talking
that's
just
you.
about that. We're talking
You,
just about
that's
that.
what you could
Yes.
do for them, right? You
Yeah,
could
but
do
we're just
that.
talking. What doing? What?
You could help them navigate those scenes because I spent $25,000 for nothing. Like I'm saying over months and years for different things. But like you are a coach that can like help them into that area. And
You have to be
I mean,
ready.
I
Yeah, there
you
is
do
a
it.
time.
So yeah, well, yeah, I think you're wonderful. Everyone, I'm going to sign up for your program.
No, but there is a time for everything. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a time for everything, and if you are,
There is. Look, I'll say this, Christina. I think we have to be prepared to invest in our business.
yes,
Yes, I might say to you, you don't need money to start a business. Festus and Topilova, I'm giving you hooks. I'm giving you things that you can hang on to and talk about, right? I'm saying, do you need money to start a business? No, but do you? Yes, it helps if you do, because you can invest in things you need, right? Whether it's it's the setup, whether it's accountancy, whether it's training. They say you need some money. You have to invest, even to make good products. Free is good for a while, but you don't get the best of anything when it's free. I talk about software. I'm talking about services, all of that. So you need to be willing to invest in yourself and your business. Otherwise, I
I mean, like
fear.
podcasting too, right, Annie? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
well,
true.
marketing,
Like
marketing.
it's so wonderful to
Yeah.
listen to these, but if you're not making money, it's hard. It's really hard.
You see, but no, I think there's honesty that I think I want people to know. My friends,
I think there's ownership.
if you're not making money, you haven't got a business. Yeah, I just said that. Really, I'm saying, look, the trick for all of us entrepreneurs is to find the solution that people need and they will pay us for. If you miss that point, you're doomed. Whatever you're gonna do, everything we talk about, you're doomed. I'm saying find a solution. If no one's willing to pay you for what you do, you're in the wrong business. I assure you. Find a business they're willing to pay you for. Create a solution. You hear me talk about this every day. I bang on about this because people go into business without having a solution. They have an idea, they have a service that everyone else does too. You must make sure you create something that's uniquely you, that you can do in a special way that helps your clients more than anyone else. That's a business. And I mean, yes, you can do e-commerce, as Christina would happily tell you, right? But if that's not, if you're selling the same stuff as the next e-commerce website, why would that come to you? You're in trouble. Let me stop talking. Lisa, welcome. I see you, my superstar friend. Lisa and I, we've got our room. So, I'm coming to you in a second, my friend. I have to work on the people here, right? So now we have a room tomorrow. Your metamorphosis. We're gonna bring your questions. Perimenopause and menopause. That's what Lisa has instructed you to do, right? So do come along. Alavine says, so I'm delighted to be around. I'm not afraid. Staying in my comfort zone will limit limited by my perspectives and my growth. I just try one little step at a time. I found mentors I have now, right now, and I'm not my own boss. I work with others, but I'm okay with it. Perfectly fine. I'm sure we agree, Christina. That's perfectly fine, right? Yeah, the time will come when when the time is right for you, when you make that choice and set a date. This date I'm going to leave. I'm going to do my own thing, and then say that Christina said you're going to become one of those freaky people who leaves a comfortable role to be your own boss and work yourself to death. Unless you succeed. When you succeed, then you're going to be wealthy, successful, happy. Happy Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving to Canadians in the audience. So thank you so much. So we need to practice and keep it up, even if it's hard. Never give up. I agree with you. So I see you, Liana. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Philip, I see you too. Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Let's go to Tobiloba. Tobiloba, you've heard a lot. I'm sure you've thought a lot. Talk to us. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I've actually heard a whole lot from Christina tonight. How are you doing, Christina? She has shared a whole lot of good stuff tonight, and they're real. And I'm going to pick it up from where you drop it, which is if your business is not making you money, you've only got a charity. So you're doing charity if your business is not putting money in your pocket. And the only thing I want to basically even share about tonight is that your 9 to 5 is actually not your enemy, right? It's the investor, right? You need to stop blaming your 9 to 5 for your money problems. Because I feel like, okay, let me even throw this question to the audience. Imagine your 9 to 5 is giving you $1 million on a monthly basis. Would you stop your 9 to 5? Maybe not. Probably not. So you need to just stop and stop blaming the 9 to 5 and say like that's why you have money problem, and then start leveraging instead. You need to start leveraging it instead. So because maybe, just maybe, Your job isn't the prison you think it is. Maybe it's the seed fund, for the future you've been praying for. And I want you to know that freedom was never about quitting. It's actually about reframing. It's about learning to build your dream while keeping the lights on. Let me just show you let me just break it down a little bit, like how you can be able to understand and tap into this. Is that number one thing is that you need to shift your mindset from employee to enterprise, right? You need to shift it from employee to enterprise. Your 9 to 5 isn't your enemy, it's your investor, it's your capital, structure, and actually a front row seat to how real business run. So every paycheck is potential energy, but it is only multiplies when you see yourself not as a staff, but as a system in motion, the one that is learning, earning, and preparing for the leap. So the job is not the threat, complacency is. So you need to understand that. Another thing is that use your salary with strategy. Use it with strategy. Don't just spend to survive, spend to build. Buy the course, learn the skill, fund that ideas that keeps whispering your name at 2 a.m. You can't build wealth if your income only exists to maintain comfort. Your salary should not end your story. It will actually, finance your next chapter. It should finance your next chapter. It's very, very important that you keep your eyes on that. You keep your eyes on that. So every kobo, every cent, every dollar coming to your pocket, it's for a reason. So you can't build wealth if your income only exists to maintain comfort. Take note of that. Your salary must be able to maintain and finance your next chapter. Every dollar, every naira, every coin, it's a soldier in your army of freedom. Another thing is that you need to build your personal brand while you work. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to do that. Start showing up in the middle of the mess. Document what you do, share what you know, teach what you are learning. Visibility basically compounds faster than savings, because why money builds stability, brands builds possibility. One grows your bank account, the other grows your name. And the world pays attention to names that carry weight. And it's this personal brand that could be able to give you the opportunity to do that. Right? So another thing is that you must turn your expertise into a paid offer, just like what Annie was talking about the other time. Must turn your expertise into a paid offer, because if you don't have a business that pays, you are only owning a charitable event, a charitable organization. That's what you're running. So you already solve problems every single day. The difference is someone else signs the check. But what if you package your skill? What if your work experience became your workshop? What if your insight became an income stream for you? That's how you stop waiting for opportunity and start creating it. So no, your job isn't that problem that you are positioning, or you're in your own perspective thinking that is a problem. So it is your perspective that makes it to see like the problem. So the moment you stop seeing yourself as an employee and start seeing yourself as the brand, everything changes. Your job becomes the field, Your skill becomes the vehicle. Your voice becomes the brand. And that's when freedom stops being a fantasy. For so many people, freedom is a fantasy instead of it to be a formula. The moment you shift your focus, it stops being a fantasy and it becomes a formula. You need to understand that and shift your focus. If you're able to do that, if you're able to build your energy, you're able to keep your strength in that, you'll be able to do more. You will build more things. You will do better than every other person you may be seeing out there, right? That's the best thing you can be able to do for yourself. Just be as good as you are. You don't need more of you. You just need to view yourself in a better way. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Annie.
I love that. You don't need more of you. You need more of you. A better version of you, right? In the right way. I get that idea. I get that. So many truths, my friend. So many truths. Say, yeah. Yinla, yeah. I have no hope. Yinla. I'll stop there, right? No, look, I agree with you. I think one of the gems to below is don't be an employee, be an entrepreneur. Literally, be someone with an entrepreneur mindset in your job. No, if I found those people, my friend, I will employ them at the drop of a hat. I live in a world where employees are employees. They do the minimum, they take your money, and they go home. I'm saying, wait, we have to be in this together. We have to, but see, here's a problem. Here's a problem. I say, Christina, you and I are those people who work hard for our employers, right? Now we work extra hard. I think do you have to be a good employee to be your own boss? Maybe. I think if you're a good employee, then if you have that enterprise initiative Tabloba, I think you're much more set up to be a good entrepreneur because you have the entrepreneur's thinking and skills already, right? Not many people possess that skill. I think that's truly a gem in that you're giving us. Again, as Yinla says, you can't build wealth if your salary it's just maintaining your comfort. Oh, I love that. And that's where Tabloba says, don't spend to survive, spend to build. Oh man, that is good, right? That is good. Christina, I pass the mic to you.
All right. So I think, well, as the beloved was speaking, I just wanted to point something out. It's great. It's a good philosophy and mindset to have that your 9 to 5 is not to enemy. Actually, in life, anything should be considered our enemy. But certain things are doable and certain things are not, and it really depends on a case by case person and on your circumstances. Biggest circumstance of them all, where you live. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. Letting go of a 120K job salary, it's not easy because in the San Francisco Bay Area, just a one bedroom apartment is $3,000 plus, and that's a very small one, not in the center, right? So you really have to. It really depends on your circumstances, how soon you can take those steps to letting go of a 9 to 5. And does it become a prison? Yes, but it's not because your boss holds a key to your cage. It's a prison. It becomes a prison because of circumstances, of the fact that you do have responsibilities as a human being and priorities in life. And when you spend the last 10 years in a career and in a system, in a flow, having a cash, being part of the, having this cash flow, then you have to find a way to maintain it. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are choosing between that, staying in that false sense of stability, and I will say why it's false, false sense of stability, and going for their dream or their, building their business. Not everybody wants to build their business. Not everybody has a passion for it. So this is something to clarify. Not everybody wants to do it, and not everybody has a passion for it. But if you want to do it, if you've been thinking about doing, if there is something that you're really passionate about, if you have an idea, if for the last 10, 15 years you keep thinking that you want to do this, you gotta give it a go. Because even the most metropolitan city, even in places like the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, where jobs pretty much pay a decent wage, but your rent is really high, and it seems like if you're living in a place where you don't lack for anything. You can get your groceries. You have 1, 2, 3 devices. You have your car, right? Even that, the reason why it's for security is because things happen. Layoffs happens. Companies don't do well, and you have zero control over it because you're not running the books of that company unless you are, their CFO or their accountant. So you have no control of it. Government shutdown here in the United States. A lot of people are getting laid off because of the government shutdown or the circumstances that led to it. The company merging with other companies and new leadership coming in. That happened in my company. I watched 95% of the people that were working there getting laid off over a period of 11 months. So, to this day, some of them are still looking for employment 11 months later. I was able to live on my own because I had been building, not because I saw this day coming. The previous 2 years, I was thriving in that position. I didn't see this day coming at all. I was doing it because I couldn't stop creating and I couldn't stop building. And I guess, I started my first entrepreneurial business in my 20. I've always was there, building something, trying something. And a lot of the time I didn't take myself seriously. And that's the one regret that I have. While I was doing my side hustles, I didn't take myself seriously when I was younger. So with age, with maturity comes that I've done this before. For 7 years, I supported myself running my own business. And this one time, I'm going to take myself seriously because I proved it to myself. So the reason why you should start while you're working before crazy stuff happens in your life is because by starting small, by sharing the idea, by validating it, by helping somebody first for free, then with a smaller offer if we're talking about services, or by starting with a small inventory if you're doing e-commerce, you're basically building the confidence little by little that is going to give the strength to leave your 9 to 5 if you feel ready and if you choose to. Or worst case scenario, you already built something, and you have a safety net that it can help you if something bad happens, like you lose your job. And the thing about safety nets is that you are the one that you weaved it. How strong it is. If you can feel comfortable if you take the jump or not, or if you gotta take it easy and put more effort into it. So that's why I wanted to point this out. I think it's important. We hear about burnout at work, toxic work environment, unhealthy environment. Some are really, really toxic and really unhealthy, and it is because of the reason why you're burned out at your job is because you're meant for something else. And if you don't try, you owe it to yourself to try and to start
Yeah.
building.
Yes. No, 100%. I agree with you 100%. I think we are all born to create. I don't mean create in the sense of, we have to make something. I think we're gifted with something to bring to the world. Festus, I know this is your wheelhouse. I'll come to you next, my friend. So, but I think we have a gift inside us that we must bring to the world. And let me say this, Christina. I don't know. Again, I love to throw the torch paper into the crowd and see what happens. Right?
Yes, sir.
You're never going to get rich working for someone. Sorry about that.
No.
Rich that poor that's taught me this, because a big proportion of your wages is going to be going to tax. You're never gonna, unless you're one of the very top 2% of people in these very top of companies. You're not gonna get rich by working for someone. When I look around me, so even things like dentists, doctors, for example, right, in the UK, they get rich because they have to start their own surgery. They have to create their own surgery. They have to create a doctor's surgery for themselves. Even the NHS is free; they get paid good money, so 200 grand a year, and then they say, "Oh, I've got too much money," and the tax man comes to take it all off them anyway. It's very funny, right? But I think we have to be willing to take the risk and use our gifts for the world, because I think that's the only way we're going to find real happiness. So Yinla, I see you again. So money builds stability, brands build opportunities. Exactly. Look, isn't that so true, right? I love that. And I said that is the truth. I think we all, we can all build something that gives other people opportunities. Small businesses like ours, our startups, we're the ones that employ most people in any country, every country. The question I always ask myself, Christina, was, do I want to be the tenant or the landlord? I always want to be the landlord. I never want to be the tenant. I never. No, and luckily, I built businesses along those lines, right? I think we have the gift. We have to be willing to put it in and really put it in. I love your point, Tobiloba, about personal branding. I think we have to trust ourselves to create a process that gives customers more than our competitors. When you say we have to document our process, I did several times. As soon as I documented it, it was out of date because I changed it. And then when I employ people, they're like, I don't like that. I can do this way. I'm like, are you getting better results than me? They're like, no. I'm like, then do as I put it down, please. And they wouldn't. So I fired. That's any story, right? Let me leave that for now. Let's go to
Christiana, please, before you go to Christiana, maybe
Christina, you have to get it right. Christina. No, she's not a black
Christina.
Christiana.
Okay,
Yeah, you can see it. Right.
Christina.
Go for it.
Can you hear me, Christina?
Yeah, we'll hear you loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear.
I can see that she's doing something very amazing, right? Very commendable. Things that is commendable. I don't know. Let's just discuss. Let's see what we can be able to do together. And I hear all the beautiful things we've been sharing so far. I'm sure the world needs you, right? The world needs your solution. So maybe after the conversation, just send me your DM, maybe later today or tomorrow.
I like that. Yes, you talk. Christina's always up for talking. So, I'm sure you two will connect and have a conversation, right? I tell everyone, talk to more people. Talk to more people. You two meet, have a conversation, see where you get to. If anything comes of it, great. If nothing comes of it, at least you become friends, right? We'll take that. Yolanda, hello, Yolanda. Look at that face of Yolanda. Yolanda, you know what I'm going to say? I'm not going to say it in public, but chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 5, they're all done. I say, I need you to do your bit, woman. Come on now. Leave me and Yolanda alone. Dr. Roxana, how are you? Great topic. Dr. Roxana talks money, wealth, and I guess making sure that you are generating your finances in a good way. I'm glad you're here. Got several books about it as well. Christina, where's your book? Where's your book? Is there a print version of your book?
Oh, you mean my Claim Your Space series? It's on Amazon.
Yeah, you haven't got a print copy. Shame on you, woman. You have to have a print copy.
Oh, not here, no.
Okay, we need you to get a copy so you can wave it around, similar to you waved the other book earlier. Anyway,
but so that's the thing. A lot of writers they buy multiple copies of their books, right? So that they can wave it around. I love to wave other books around. I mean,
now wave yours around. I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
But it depends. So one thing that I recommend that every person wanting to start a business does, right? It's don't listen just to your own trumpet. We all have our ideas and our opinions, but something that is really gonna take you to the next level is that if you really start, reading. I read 30 minutes every day, no matter what. 30 minutes every day, I sit down and read with something new, or even if it's just an article, I have to spend 30 minutes reading every day. And that gives me, fresh inspirations, new ideas.
Mm,
So, and when I was struggling with, insecurities, whether I was ready, whether I could really pull this off and really ripping off the band-aid, uh, reading books that were, motivating, encouraging me, inspiring, they made a big, it really made a big difference, huge
yeah.
difference.
Look, I can understand that. I agree with you. Read. I think successful entrepreneurs read, right? Because the knowledge is not hidden. It's there if we bother to find it. And I would say it's in coaches, it's in books, it's in articles. I'm saying read, and talk to people. Talk to those who've been there before, right? I would say mentoring is something I spoke about the other day. I say find someone who's built a business. What can you learn from them? This is all part of the entrepreneur's journey. Let's go to Festus, and then say we can begin to think, how do we wrap this show up? Festus, let's try. It's not let's try. Let's see if Nigeria internet's working for you today. Festus, it's working, my friend. Share with us what you can. Now, Festus and I say now, Festus is our guest on the Africa Business Talks tomorrow for Biloba. He's going to be talking about, believing in, how we change our negatives into our superpowers as
No
Africans.
doubt. First is a genius.
I
So
know, I know. Talk to us, Festus. Talk to us.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Toby Loba. You are amazing. I have absorbed a lot. Christina, well done. That's amazing. You guys have been amazing tonight. And of course, Mr. Famous himself, my own boss, Sir Ene. Thank you for the shout out. Okay, I would have rather preferred to learn than from all that has been said. But if I'm to say something, let me start with the fact that anyone who becomes successful after 9 to 5 or by quitting their 9 to 5 only becomes more responsible in their later life, because starting a business is not freedom. We all feel being your own boss is freedom, but I don't think it's freedom. It's more responsibility. Freedom is not the enemy, or is not what human beings need. It's discipline and responsibility. The father of productivity or anything good is discipline and responsibility. So let me say this: people who blame their 9 to 5, most times, I'm just saying this, but I'm not really, but it's important. I say it anyway. People who blame 9 to 5 most times are people who enjoy so much freedom in their job that they don't really do what they were supposed to do to multiply what they were receiving. So when they venture into the business world, they realize that you must have a structure. You must have a structure. You must have something that guides you. And most importantly, they realize that it is not really about being your own boss. It is being an employee under a business, not a person. You are serving your own business. No business owner is really the owner of the business. You are actually working for the business. You can't let it die. So you've got to do everything within your power to make it work. So that gives you that when you guys point on the idea of learning, reading books, getting a coach, mentor, and people that matter to help you run a business, it's all about you realizing that for this business to succeed, there must be structure. So it's all about discipline and more responsibility. So it's not really freedom like it would be when you are operating 9 to 5. You clock out. No entrepreneur really clock out. They Even if they are not on the work, they are working behind the scene for the work. So these are people that you have 9 to 5, but entrepreneur sometimes work more than that. They stay active on the job even more than nine. It's almost 24 hours because they are running on thoughts, they are planning, they're looking at what to fix. So my own thoughts in this is that 9 to 5, like Toby Loba said, is not the enemy. It is what we do with it. And I was looking at something on this topic that I like so much, issue of overcoming fear, uncertainty, and comfort zone. Fear in the business world is not about. It's not like we would, there are two kinds of fear. We have threats to life and threats to dignity. So the fear in business world is a threat to dignity. You are actually afraid of shame, and that is why you couldn't do certain things, and that's why you protect yourself so much. It's all about shame. It's not really fear. Fear is just that word that tries to cover the real truth. If what you are afraid to do is not going to be shameful, you're going to do it anyway. So we don't do them because we're afraid of what happens, what would people say, what happens to our dignity, our image, and all that. But fear in the business world, in career wise, is not really fear. It's shame. We're afraid of what people will think. So when what we are afraid of becomes, if our fear becomes less shameful, or if it is not shameful, we're not going to be afraid at all when it comes to business and all that. And comfort zone, for me, is just, comfort zone is not really bad, but it is when you stay too long in it. We all have comfort zone. You start operating a business, you got this idea that works. You stay with that idea for a while because it's generating money, it's generating something good. But that is your comfort zone. When you stay too long in it, that you don't realize when it is affecting your growth, that is when it is bad. So we get to our comfort zone at some point, but we need to realize when to leave that comfort zone. That is evolving, right? So that's my take. And thank you so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
That's fair, yeah. Genius. Christina, feel free. No, you're on mute. I muted you. My bad.
You mute me. Well, I sort.
There's a distortion in your microphone. That's the only reason. When someone else is talking, there's a distortion.
So, well, I sort of disagree on some of these aspects here. um, you know, Comfort zones, fears, business, 9 to 5. Again, no one is calling the 9 to 5 an enemy, right? But the topic of this conversation was what's stopping you, you know, from taking the leap, and how you can overcome some of the things that are, sorry, stopping you, including, fears and uncertainty. And there's this sense of false security that could be a stable salary. Now, my perspective is pretty unique because in since what is that 25, 26 years, right? In the last 25, 26 years, I've lived both. I worked for myself first, my first business, trying it out, figuring it out, making it stable. Then thinking that I'd learned some enough from my initial side hustles that now I could build a career. And so going and working for several companies, incidentally, using the skills that I taught myself, during my first business that I started. Then, reality sets in, right? Responsibility, things, and this desire that at least I had, even if I was working my 9 to 5, to create things. For a while, I had the experience, where everything was aligned. Loved what I was doing, mentored other people, taught other people how to do it, and also kept creating other things, right? If not everybody knows that I do more than one thing. I'm a business coach and I deal with personal branding, but I really got started with e-commerce. So I teach people how to build their own print-on-demand stores and other things. So I was living in a world where there were several things that I was doing. But the reason why I was doing several things is because a 10-year plus careers, a 12-year career working for one place uh, became sort of a prison because it was good. It was doing good. It was paying good. It was comfortable. I was good at it. But there was something that was missing, and it's not the freedom because hey, now I work for myself. I don't have to stay 10 hours out of the house anymore between going to work and actually working there. It was not that kind of freedom. The freedom is the freedom to choose, the freedom to create, to make decision. And that's why I'm a firm believer that if you want to start your business, if you want to build your own brand, it has to come from within. uh, you have to make the connection. There has to be a really strong link between the business as a business, functioning properly as a business, and the why behind the business. If you start a business or if you build a brand that you really believe in, that really represents you, and that really speaks to everything that you love, you're going to feel free because it doesn't really feel like work. You're putting those hours in, with pleasure, because what it is, you're really expressing yourself through it.
I can accept
Giving
that, but
it
Christina, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's yes, I see many people every day who are they love what they're doing. They're doing a mission, maybe that might even help humanity, right? The problem is that they're not making money. They haven't
you
got
have to make
solution.
money.
Yeah, they have to create. You have to create a solution that people are willing to pay you for. Which brings me on to the first. This is a point about fear. I think that's a big one for me, right? I think which combined to say it's all right to keep doing the same thing because we love to do the same thing. That's human nature. We love to do the same thing over and over because it's working. But things go wrong. Things change. Things change so quick, right? Things change. So I remember a few weeks ago, a few months ago, when we were nearly a year now, about this time last year, LinkedIn suddenly said no more audio. Everyone was like, what are we gonna do now? They put their business in audio, right? I'm saying, it's you have to be willing to move. I think the fear thing is an important one for me because I think we can do so much and we have this gift, And I confess to saying, as you say, that as you say, fear in business is really shame. And I don't know. I believe that. I think we have so many great ideas, opportunities that we can take, but we limit ourselves and stick in the status quo and stick in our comfort zone and stick with that. I don't want to do that because it might go wrong. I might lose money. I might lose face. What they think of me. I think we can't let that affect us, right? I think those who create genius, they are brave enough to follow their ideas, their heart, their thoughts, right? If your solution, if you're thinking, if this step you want to take, this thing you want to do, going to help your customers, I say go for it. Don't worry about whether what others think of you, regardless. But many people are stuck with what others think of them. They don't move forward, Christina. They're stuck because they might laugh at me. They might not care for what I'm trying to do. Look, if you have a solution, be brave enough. Try it at least. Try it. Try it. Try it. Use it. Go for it and see what happens. Because you never know, right? Everything was from someone's idea, right? It's an idea in our heads. Like go. So dare to move beyond what others think. Like know what's inside your heart. I agree, for sure, Christina. Know what's in your soul. Know your why you're doing things. And if it's for the right reasons to help people, go for it. Don't let fear ruin your fun. Don't let fear get in your way at all. And that I totally agree with. Olivia's here. I'm glad you're here. I think that there's a question about freedom that we need to think about, Christina. I don't know if that's a topic in itself, right? You know,
Yeah.
we go, you know.
But what I hear a lot, especially some of the things that you're bringing up, and I hear a lot about uh, if you're not making money, you don't have a business. The fear of not making money. So it's really the fear of not succeeding once you make the decision. And this today's episode was also about overcoming the fear. So one way that I can recommend for anybody trying out to overcome the fear is the way I overcome the fear myself. And it is 3.5 years ago, I started. I was already, see, I was fearless when I was helping people within the business I was working for. And I was getting great feedback. And of course, I was fearless. I knew that every month uh, money was coming in, right? But when I started doing it for myself, I started doing it for myself while I was still employed. And the fear goes away once those systems, those solutions that we're talking about, you have to present them to somebody, you have to share them somewhere, and you have to start actually operating your business before you're ready to go full in, even in a very, very smaller scale. So for a couple of years, I operated my business at 15, 20 hours a week while I had my job. And of course it was hard. I was exhausted, but I believed enough in it. And I believed enough that this was going to work out. And this is what I wanted to actually do, that I put the time in. And at a certain point, it was 3, 4 months ago, I looked at my books and I said, okay, this is good. I can scale this. Now I'm going to take the leap, right? So that's when I took the leap. There is something I'm not every no one here is telling the listeners, be foolish, run away from your 9 to 5. No, you have to do that. You have to prepare for it. One, you have to believe in yourself enough to have the persistence to put the time and to start generate a revenue. So that's number one. Two, you have to plan. You have to keep uh, you have to keep more money than you're spending. So the money that you're generating with this business while you still are your 9 to 5, this is gonna be your launch pad. It's gonna be able to, like I launched knowing that for the next year and a half I'm good. That's when I decided to go all in. So it would be foolish that you went all in all of a sudden without having a launch pad, without having a runaway. I know I have a runaway because I worked hard on it. So you have to test it. This platform, we are here on LinkedIn, but I know we're broadcasting elsewhere too on YouTube and others. But the tools that we have today at our disposals between LinkedIn, YouTube, Substack, TikTok, if you're into TikTok, so many, they're here for us to utilize it and to really test our ideas. We need to start doing business now before we escape. But things can happen between the moment you say, I'm going to start doing business now, even part time. From that day to the day that you actually leave, things can happen. Unexpected things can happen. For example, you can actually lose that 9 to 5. So, what do you have to lose by getting started and getting prepared now and actually believing in your idea enough to start investing your time in building it, even if it means sacrificing a weekend, even if it means being a little bit more tired or going to bed a lot earlier than you wanted to. So you really believe in it, prove it, do the work now, start now, and then I'll promise you this will help you overcome the fear, the uncertainty, and the comfort zone that you think you have, the self safety that you think you have at your 9 to 5. All of a sudden you look at it and you'll just you will just break free and get out of it with pleasure, with a big smile on your face, because you validated your own worth.
I totally agree with you. Let me work on my super coach, Elaine. It's Elaine, my public speaking coach, and she's also project management genius, amongst other things. She does many things, but say she helped me, to prepare to go and do my keynote in Ghana. So, welcome, Elaine. How you doing, Elaine? What's happened to our room? Is it dead? Yes, I take my chance when I see my friend to tell them off, right? Yolanda, I'm looking at you as well. But Yolanda is here, right? She loves your 30 minutes a day reading. It's a good practice to have, right? It's a good practice to have. I'm reading something daily, constantly learning. Hopefully, you're reading your book too, Yolanda, right? Zara says, jump in if the wings have not arrived. So I talked about that earlier, Zara. Jump, and sure, make your parachute on the way down if you haven't got one. That's business for you. And I love when Festus said, so this freedom is a formula. It's not a fantasy. Everything we talk about in this room is a formula. It is what Christina just said. Literally practice and have a good idea, refine it, work on it, fall in love with it before you go making that leap into being your own boss. And Festus also said something I think is really important. And I say, talk about responsibility being the thing we're going to live with in our old age. Being responsible in a business means you're going to be responsible for you in your old, into your old age. That's the truth, right? Starting a business is not for a week or for a month. You have to be truly committed, truly into it for as long as it takes. You see, when I started a business, Christine, I told my wife, she still laughs at me every day about this. You said you'd be retired after 2 years, and it was like, what's happened? I'm like, I did say such words. I said we'll be retired on the beach, enjoying life. She's like, 10 years in, 11 years in, I'm saying I'm working harder now than I ever have. Now, that's business, right? I think one day it dawned on me, business success does not happen in 2 years or 5 years. It happens over 25. You think of that when you go starting a business, folks. You must, right? you really must. And so I think that's just the truth. That says do a test drive of your ideas while still in paid employment. If you can, for sure. So again, Christina, the point, many people are scared of burnouts. I hear it every day. I'm like, when you do what you love, you find the energy, you find the will, the drive. It's hard to get burnt out when you're doing what, when you're tending your own garden, as our friend Joni mentioned earlier, right? But so many people are scared of missing an hour of sleep, Christina. I'm not saying don't do self-care. I'm just saying you're going to have to sacrifice something sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's half an hour here, an hour there, even, a whole weekend, even months. I'm saying you have to put in to become your own boss. I don't know. I don't know how it works otherwise, right? I don't know how it works otherwise.
You need grit.
If you're not willing to put the work in, grit, say, drive, determination, will, discipline, all this, there's all the same things. A willingness to do what it takes to build this business of yours. You must be willing to find it within yourself. I mean, it's within all of us. Let's talk to Alavine, and then we'll begin to wind down. Thank you so much, Festus. Alavine, how are you today?
Hello. I am good. Thank you very much. What about you guys?
You're here, so I'm in heaven. If you're here, then it's a good day for any, right?
That's wonderful. My take about that is I've learned a lot, first of all. And secondly, I know one day, maybe, just maybe, I will go to this side because I don't know why, but I really hate to be comfortable. Each time I'm comfortable with something, I turn around and I go towards something new. I need to feel the adrenaline, if I can say, to discover new things. I think it is my curious nature. I think it is about that for me. So we need to have discipline. I agree. To have a plan, I agree too. But I think we also need to be very curious and fearless, because when you are too afraid, we will do nothing. But if we are, so we need to have some care, yes, but not fear. We need to be careful but not afraid. So I think there are some differences between being afraid and being careful, because when we are afraid we do nothing, and when we are careful we do everything. And also I think we need to love whatever we want to do, because when we are in love with whatever we want to do, we, let's say, we can move mountains. That's my take, and thank you very much for listening and for welcoming on stage also.
Talking, I've muted myself. I'm talking. So let's go to Christina. I think that was genius advice there, right? Genius insights, Green. Thank you so much. Christina, I'm coming to you. Your distortion is still, who can, do I mute me? So Christina,
Yes.
what's your thinking about what Alavine shared? I say we do need to, I guess, be willing to make that leap, and I think belief in ourselves is important, right? And I said,
Yeah, definitely, it's a courage.
yes, courage. I think that the point about care, being careful, because a lot of people don't do. They miss opportunities every day. We all do. All of us do, right? And I say, no, I'm learning not to be that person who falls prey to what Zara says. Fear, the overprotective uncle or auntie. Literally, because I realized many days, when I say God throws ideas, I'm not religious. I'm just saying that the universe gives you guidance. No, you're not here by accident. Any of us here today, right? What are you here to take away from what we're saying, what we're sharing, what you're reading in the comments? I'm saying the only thing that stops us being that person that takes action that might improve our lives is fear. We need to get rid of that fear. Yes, be careful, but don't let fear cripple you into inaction, into you know missing out on things that could help you. And in business, that comes in many forms. It comes in the choices you make, the friends you make, the services you create, the collaborations you join, the way you invest your money. Do you get a coach? Or you get a coach? Oh, I don't know, because what if I waste my money? What if I stop my business tomorrow? I'm saying these fears, we can't live with them. We have to let them go. We have to truly be fearless. Levine, I said, I love that. So I think that's a big part of entrepreneurship. Go on, Christina. I'll let you comment as you wish.
Thank you for letting me. Anyhow, yeah, maybe one thing that I wanted to highlight here is courage. It takes a courageous act to start listening to yourself and to start listening to your hunches. So you were talking about sometimes we might think that we're missing opportunities. So if you have one thing that I learned, a long time ago, that if you have an idea or an hunch, you have to act on it within 5-6 seconds, literally. If it comes to you and you thought, oh, that's good, right? You have to do something. Either write it down, make a post about it. If you are on social media, you have to really learn how to listen to your hunches, because you'll forget about it. You literally will, and then that's when you miss an opportunity. So yes, you really need to learn how to trust yourself, trust your hunches, your hunches. And also, the reason why we always say later, maybe someday, is because what we're missing these opportunities. We're missing a quick win, a quick result, right? And nothing gives you more encouragement of you sharing one of those hunches, one of these prototypes, and having somebody commenting on it or asking you a question about it and giving you that, oh, this actually is impacting somebody. That's how it started with me. I started sharing and I was realizing that I was impacting somebody. Actually, what I was doing was creating results and quick wins for others. So I decided to do that for myself. I decided to just begin generating quick wins for myself, and that really, I think, was what catapulted me. So, I mean, we have so many tools here at our disposal. I cannot say this enough. So many tools. Just here within LinkedIn, we have the lives, we have the newsletters, we have the posts, we have articles that we can leverage. We can, comment. And when I say comment, we can start conversations inspired by other people comment in their content, but other people content in their content, right? So you can comment on other people's posts, but don't comment just for the sake of it. Try to add value, right? Try to say something that either elevates the post, adds value to it, or adds to the conversation. Don't go and comment just to give your opinion and run and brag. So if you're commenting on somebody's post and you really feel genuine about what you said and you really were inspired by this post, that's an opportunity right there. Go talk to that person. Send them a message, send them a DMs. We're giving this direct messaging these days on LinkedIn, direct messaging as a bad name because just everybody, like everybody and their brother, is emailing you and messaging you, trying to sell you something. Make this about building the community, about communication, and about an opportunity to express yourself and to meet somebody that is a like-minded individual. That's how businesses and connections and opportunities really unfold, at least here on LinkedIn, but in other social media platform. Every social media platform are the unique, have the unique demographics and certain type of users, and you just have to know one where you belong, where your audience, where your content really resonates, and really connect with the right people, have the right conversations. If you don't do that, if you just observe silently, you're never going to get started.
I totally agree. We must learn to, as Yinla says, courage is taking necessary action in spite of your fears. I agree with that totally, right? As Mike says, no, Zara says, comfort zone is like Netflix. Sometimes even those Pakistani serials, you keep saying just one more episode, one more day, just one more. I'll do the next thing that comes in my head. I'll take action tomorrow. You can wait till you're ready. Of course you can, but staying with the status quo doesn't change anything. Nothing grows in the comfort zone, my friends. It might feel nice for a bit, but when you look back, I guess, life's business and life's about when you look back a year from now, what are you going to see? Are you going to see progress? Are you going to see the same? You don't want to see the same. You want to see progress, right? Otherwise, we'll be happy. We'll be living a life of success, wealth, and happiness. If we're not doing that, then we need to do something, right?
And sometimes you're so comfortable, you're rot.
Yeah, that's not a good thing, Christina. You know what is true now? See, when I was young, Christina, I only had one dream. So let me say it in public. I'm not sure I should, but I'll say it in public. My dream was quite simple, right? Go through school, go and do that thing called, do you remember personnel departments? I just wanted to work in personnel for 25 years, retire, and then die. That was my plan. Then when I finished uni, suddenly there was no personnel. It turned into HR. And HR is corrupt.
So much rebranding, right?
It's not just rebranding. It's the focus. Look, I enjoy helping people, right? And I want to help employees to do their best. HR is a whole different. HR is about getting the employees to do what the management wants. Human resource management, by the title, tells you we're part of management. I didn't realize that when I was learning it. I thought when I was here, the personnel thing was framed as helping employees have the environment to create their best, right? So my plan wasn't to do anything serious. My plan was just to live and die. Live, work, die. Yay. Then, but I've grown up since. I've realized, as Mike is saying, We need to move from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And fear is believing we will have no choice. We have a choice, my friends. We can create genius. We were born to create. Let's create. Dare to believe you can. But as Yinla says, business success doesn't happen in a flash. Be prepared to build consistently for decades. Truly. And like some people, you may never get there, right? Yeah, think of the artists, some of our greatest artists and musicians. They never got there. They're creating. The masterpieces now have been seen, attracting attention and great value. But when they were alive, when Van Gogh was alive, people didn't like his art. They hardly bought it. And so there's many more of them, right? I'm not saying you're going to be like that. I'm saying it can happen, but and that's what you're going to have. What Christina says: the freedom of mind, freedom of doing what you want to do, creating. But my freedom comes with making money. You have to make money. Serve people, make money, build a business that even you didn't think you could. That's freedom for me. That's my joy. So I'm going to leave with this. I like connecting with people who challenge me, and I notice that I'm just too creative and innovative with those who are like-minded. Yeah, start your business, my friend. Start your business. Start your business. Hopefully, you have. Look, if it's I'll give everyone a chance. If there's anything you want to add to it, that you want us to leave us with today, please take your chance. Mr. Tobiloba, do you have a last message for us today that we can learn from? I'm gonna have to meet you again, Christina, because your noise is Tobiloba, are you there? Okay, maybe not. Festus, are you there? Okay, so I tend to do my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you don't speak, then I'll tend to move on to the next person. Alavine, what's the last thing you want to leave us with today?
The last thought. Let's say we need to have courage to see who we are and what do we really want. It is quite important to define our lifestyle. And if we don't know what we want or who we are, we will never do anything. That's my last thought. And most of all, love whatever you want to do. It is very important.
I agree. Now, self-awareness, again, working in your mindset is probably the biggest thing we can do as entrepreneurs. We tackle the issues that we talked about today, the fear, the uncertainty, a good mindset program, a good mindset coach will guide you into believing yourself, really believing yourself, and then loving your idea, because your idea helps people. There's all of that's linked together, Olivine. So I take that for sure. Christina, what's your last point today, my friend?
Okay, so about that, still harping on the courage and taking action part. Just try something. Really share if you need some guidance. Look at other creators, see on LinkedIn, see what they're doing. So many of us have an infinite amount of knowledge that is shared here on LinkedIn through newsletters. So go ahead and sign up to those newsletters that align with what you're seeking for. About that, I just came out with my newest newsletter 7 days ago. And actually, it's not a newsletter, it's a mini daily blog. So every morning at 7 a.m., if you need a few tips, just open your inbox after you register, and I share those with you every day at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
that's your Claim It Daily, right?
yes. Yeah, do something about it. Go claim the space online. Be present. Do something about it.
Yeah, I like that. So yours is only newsletter I've subscribed to for a long time. I don't subscribe to newsletters anymore because they're all people don't help. They don't give me value. At least yours gives me something I can work with, right? So,
but there is something about the newsletters on LinkedIn. Is the most under. If you guys are listening and you're thinking about visibility and I don't get a lot of visibility and how do I connect with people? When newsletters are the most underutilized tool on LinkedIn. I like newsletters because, even when I still do mine weekly. I have the reveal your niche newsletter weekly. LinkedIn automatically sends messages to those that are subscribed. So right then and there, you beat the algorithm. You are on somebody's inbox. And if you do it daily, if you do a short one, you get the kind of treatment from LinkedIn on a daily basis. So it's a way to spread your message. Now, share something useful, something that people can utilize. Otherwise, what's happening is that people will just unsubscribe.
That's me. Maybe if you share something useful, then I can learn from reading it. So many people just share. So bye.
Just
Me.
clean your feed. You can just keep your feed to what you want it to be.
Yeah,
Make sure that you know.
I get 300 emails a day at least every day, and most of them from LinkedIn. So another newsletter just doesn't mean no good. I don't read 99.9% of them. I'm just saying, people, make sure you add value to your newsletters. Otherwise, but do use it. Use what's there to help us as entrepreneurs. And look around you. Look. I would say get a coach. Get a coach. There's a coach for everyone. There's a coach at every level. I say Christina is there, of course. If you want to coach, at the top level, I'm saying, if people turn up and say, if you've got no money, there's someone who will coach you, for that level for free. I know what you're going to get, and whether it's going to help you is a different conversation, right? But get a coach to really help you. Read those books too. My friends, I thank you all for spending your time with us. Of course I do. Thank you so much, right? Peter said, what if we fail? I said, what if I dance while failing? Please, Zara, you're a genius, man. So that's what I know. It's a way of thinking, Zara. It's a way of thinking, right? You can dance while failing. Of course we can. Then normally we find a solution when we start dancing. Move your body, right? That's another whole conversation. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you, Alavine. Thank you, Fixers. Thank you, Mr. Tobiloba. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Yolanda, Yinla. Hopefully, I pronounced your name even close to what it should be. Thank you so much for being here, Zara, Mike as well. Have I mentioned you, Mike? I'm sure I have, right? Yeah, I mentioned you earlier. Thank you so much, everyone. There's many more, but I can't go for everyone. Look, we're back again in 2 weeks' time. Do join us. We'll continue the conversation about how to escape your 9 to 5. In the meantime, my friends, connect. Connect with each other, connect with Christina, have those conversations. Philip, say Liana, and everything. If anyone's on an event, they're your friend, right? That's where LinkedIn sees it. So connect with them, DM them, and have a conversation. I say bye, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you've got something out of today. If you do, leave a comment. Leave a comment, right? Take care, everyone. Bye. Bye. Say bye, Christina.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.
Global.Media.com and celebrate it with the without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.